Welcome into the Auburn Volleyball Report as we talk things over with Auburn head coach Rick Knoll. Coach, Auburn played one match this past weekend on the road at Ole Miss where your team came away victorious 3-1. How big was it to get that first big conference win of the season?
It's a huge win for us. We started off a little bit rough against them and, lost the first game and we're down pretty big in the second game. And, so far the past probably month, we struggled in those situations. As soon as we've gotten down, we kind of backed off. And we've talked a lot about, our mental approach to those situations the past couple weeks. And, I was really happy the girls responded. They came together and, it didn't play great in any area, but, pulled together and got things done.
And you said you guys got down by 11 in the first set, correct? And you were down 17-9 at one point in the second set, and you guys scrapped and clawed your way back through in that second set and ended up winning 25-23. And your team showed a ton of resilience coming back, and that's something that's been a struggle for this team this season when getting down earlier in matches.
Yeah, and we talked a lot the past couple weeks about just the thing we've struggled with is when one area is broken down, we've let everything else break down with it. And there's a part that we've got to support each other. And if a team's serving tough and it's making life tough on our passers, then I think it's our setters' responsibility to work hard to keep us as in system as possible. And then the hitter's job, it's taking some out of system balls and making some aggressive plays on to put us back in maybe a little bit of control or the other team back on their heels some. And the other thing we talked a lot about was just kind of trusting each other. It doesn't have to be the same people all the time that are, taking all the swings or doing everything for us. And, I thought that's, if you look at the stats from Sunday, all of our hitters got involved. Our outside hitters both hit zero on the match, which for us, that's unusual for them to do that and us, end up playing so well. But again, everybody else got involved, and then late in the game, with the trust factor, we went right back to our outsides, and they came up with some big kills.
And talking about the attack for you guys, the three middles, Camilla Jersonsky, Stephanie Campbell, and Courtney McDonald had a huge day, recording 33 kills of Auburn's 54. Was that part of the game plan to get the middle blockers more involved in the attack going into the match?
Well, I think we needed balance, and if you had Emily Klitsky in there, who's basically another middle, and each one of them, I think only had one error apiece, which is, again, we were feeding a lot of balls to them, and they were obviously trying to target them to stop them, and so to come away and be so successful in the middle, I think that really, again, it helps balance our team out and puts us in a better position.
And Sarah Roblicki had a big day yesterday, recording her 1,000th dig, moving her 8th all-time in career digs here at Auburn. Talk about the impact she's had on the volleyball program in her time at Auburn.
Well, I think she impacts our program in a number of ways. You can look at the 1,000 digs, and that's a big part of it. But, off the court, she's our first one to jump out and do, community service. And, she works hard in the classroom. And, the thing that you really like to see is, she's been our starting libero for the last 2 years. And, she has, or 3 years maybe, I guess. But she's the one that is in the gym working extra every day and making sure that she's ready. And I think that's just a great example for everybody. Again, she's just a great kid.
And Auburn returns home with two big matches, the first against LSU Friday night and the second against Texas A&M on Sunday, both games televised on Fox Sports South. What does it mean for the program to get that regional exposure and especially getting to showcase Auburn Arena as a volleyball venue?
I think that's a big part. First and foremost, we got to get out there and play, and that's something we got to build on what we did this past weekend. But I think that exposure on TV, that's something, recruiting-wise, it gets out to, a lot of people in the area. And I think if you look at the arena, it's a great venue, and we've had great crowds so far since we've been in there. So now it's just time to get on the winning note once we get a game in there.
And LSU coming to town with a 3-game winning streak. What do you expect out of LSU next weekend?
Yeah, they have some similarities to us in that they've got some experience and then some youth. They're very athletic. They've been playing really well the whole year. For us, it's going to be we'll watch some video, get game plan together. But a big part for us is going to be continuing to improve and our mental approach to the game. And we could see this weekend. I mean, Ole Miss is they hadn't won a game in the SEC, but they're a really good team. They're athletic. They can beat you in a lot of different ways. And I think the difference right now, between the top teams and the others is more the mental approach. And so, hopefully we're making some improvements there, and we'll show that this week.
And Auburn closing the weekend against Texas A&M on Sunday. Texas A&M, the team earlier in the season, was a top 25 caliber team. They played Florida State earlier in the season, which is a team that Auburn has played. What do you expect against Texas A&M on Sunday?
Again, a very good team. Again, as you said, they're a top 25 caliber type team. And but that just kind of shows in the SEC. I mean, there's not a match you go out for that you can walk away and say, hey, I'm gonna get a win here. I mean, every match you've got to play. They were up 2-0 on LSU last Wednesday night. I was watching on TV, and it's just the momentum changes, and it's happened to us a few times. And all of a sudden, LSU comes back and gets a win in 5. So it's just they're a very good team, and we know they've got a really, really active setter that she's been really effective for them this year, and it's just one of those we'll have to go out and battle.
Best of luck to you this weekend, Coach, and War Eagle.
War Eagle.
And that was Auburn head coach Rick Nold on the Auburn Volleyball Report.